Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and if you can't tell, I'm at the Pokémon Company. Yes, I am down here at the request of Nintendo UK and the Pokémon Company International because Sword and Shield is basically a thing, and also because I'm here to interview Masuda-san and Ohmori-san. So that's going to be very exciting. So let's do that. We've known that the 8th generation of Pokémon games has been in development for some time now. Whenabouts did development begin, and how did the team adapt to the newer, more powerful hardware of the Nintendo Switch? So really, we got started on developing this game as soon as we'd finished with Pokémon Sun and Moon. At the time, a lot of the development team were busy and moved over to the development of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, so we used this as a sort of stepping stone while we gathered more and more people to work on this project. As this was the first main series new project after moving over on the 3DS to the Switch, something that was really hard to come to grips with was the new power that we had at our disposal, particularly in a graphical sense. We could express a lot more on the characters' faces and things like that, and it of course comes with added cost and things as well, so there was a lot to get right with the team, and so we had to all muck in and work hard together to make sure we used everyone's skills in bringing this game together. The Galar region clearly draws inspiration from where we are right now, the British Isles. We've already seen some direct representation of England in Alchemy and Wales in Sir-Fetched. Can we expect similar treatment for other locales such as Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, and perhaps even some of the smaller islands that dot our coast? There's been a lot of research going into the making of this region and the Pokémon for this game, and we've been around and seen all sorts of different areas that we could, implemented different bits and bobs from that, but instead of making more of strict representations of one part of the country or one specific aspect, we've rather gone at this from a different angle, thinking what sort of design would fit the UK as a whole. So in terms of finding out specifically what Pokémon are in the game, we're going to have to ask you to wait and play the game for yourself when it releases, and hopefully enjoy what you discover.
どんなポケモンがまだいるかは、実際ガラル地方に行って確かめてみてほしいなと思います。
I can see you've got the starter Pokemon there, the initial evolutions at the very least. Just out of interest, at the moment, which is your favorite? That's a really hard decision, but at the moment I'm thinking I'll go for Score Bunny, but I may well have changed my mind by the time the game comes out. In the past, you've mentioned that you've been working to improve the balance of the games. It's no secret that a vast majority of Pokemon have historically not really been viable choices in competitive Pokemon battles. How have you taken steps to increase the number of Pokemon that would be useful in competitive situations? Of course, we're always keen to make it so that there's a larger variety of Pokemon that people can and want to use, but of course things like pre-evolutions are necessarily weaker than the later evolved forms. This time we have the Dynamax feature, which means that you can give any Pokemon a chance to Dynamax in battle, which hopefully may inspire people to broaden the number of Pokemon that they use and explore different possibilities with Pokemon that they haven't used before using the Dynamax feature. Following the announcement that not all Pokemon previously featured in the series will be appearing in Pokémon Sword and Shield, certain fans' reactions were not at all positive. How did the development team feel upon hearing this negative response? So of course this is a decision that we didn't just land on by happenstance. We thought long and hard as a whole team about what the best approach for the game was, and this is the decision we ultimately came to. We're always thinking about how we can make the very best experience for the game we're currently working on, and the best way that fans can get to grips with and enjoy that game. We ultimately came to the decision that this is the best way to go for this game. Regarding the Pokemon that have made the cut in the games, are there any specific criteria that had to be met in order for their inclusion to be solidified? This is a really difficult aspect that we have to get to grips with when designing the regional decks. The way we go about this is the same as with previous generations, so when deciding what Pokemon to include in Kalos and Alola, for example, we really look at what Pokemon would best fit that sort of region, so we think hard about that, and that's the main criteria when deciding what we pick. When creating a mainline Pokemon game, how much attention is spent on creating new mechanics, such as the Dynamax and Gigantamax systems? Really, we think of different ideas at the start of the project and discuss with the designers about how we can bring these different ideas to fruition, but it doesn't really start and end there. It's something that you constantly revisit throughout the project with game balance and things like that, so from start to finish we're constantly thinking about what sort of new features will work and how we can make them happen. Many fans are fond of Mega Evolutions, such as my personal favourite Mega Beedrill. Can we expect Mega Evolutions and Gigantamaxing to marry in some form to preserve these new, more powerful versions of some of our favourite Pokémon? Well, if a Mega Evolved Pokemon also Dynamax, they'd probably be crazy strong. So this time around, what we'd really like to see is people playing around with the Dynamax feature and really enjoying that, and see what they can do with it so they won't necessarily have to Mega Evolve as well. This time around, we really want people to get to grips with the Dynamax feature and enjoy what that has to offer. And lastly, why hasn't a Fish and Chips themed Pokemon already been announced? Because you know it's gonna happen. I really like fish and chips, and I've eaten a lot of it, to the point that I've discovered that the flavour varies wildly between different shops. As for making fish and chips into a Pokemon, it's fish and it's chips, and I can't really think of a great way to combine the two into a single creature. I didn't really know how to round off this video, so I just thought I'd like to send thanks to Masuda-san and Ohmori-san. Obviously, I thanked them in person when I was there, but you know, I'd like to do it at the end of the video as well. For speaking with us, it was a tremendous honor to speak with some people who were so integral in some of the games that are so close to me personally. And yeah, and of course, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you convert that subscribe button into an eldritch fish and chip shaped horror? And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.
It's a really hard decision, but at the moment I'm thinking I'll go for Score Bunny. But I might change my mind again by the time the game comes out, so you never know.
Can I tell Masuda-san he's objectively wrong, or...?
残念だなって思ってるわけで